like this since I came up.
Hitting on weed that be strong. Rolling up blunts that be long. I'm twisting up the dope. Twisting up the dope. Twisting up the dope.
Once I roll up, I'm in go mode. Smoking with a Hoover is a no-no. Weed smell like it's got fruit in it. Blunts get dab smeared into it. Hitting extra strong, they be muscly. I roll perfect blunts, I say that humbly. Don't stop inhaling no marijuana. Hoover's in loud on the clouds I'm on. Smoke a blunt down till it vanishes. Ain't worry about the side effects or damages. Hella flame dusted with the trichromes. Keep twisting up like cyclones. Every puff, I get high up. Smoke so much that my eyes shut. Two keep going on my lift up. Another 2 blunts getting twisted up.
Hitting on weed that be strong. Rolling up blunts that be long. Hitting on weed that be strong. Rolling up blunts that be long. I'm twisting up the dope. Twisting up the dope. Twisting up the dope.
Thanks for rolling up, TwoBlunt Marley. Yo, how we getting on here, right? Trying to chill with y'all, just you know what I mean, chill out and shit. You know what I mean, just you know what I mean, chill.
I smoke a whole bunch of weed all day and night time. Every time I crack a bleed, I smear dabs on the inside.
On the main channel and shit, we over there, you know what I mean, we smoking weed and shit, you know what I mean, doing weed content over there. Over here though, bro, we doing something different.
You might smoke with a Hoover, that's something I never do. I'm a
even though you know what I'm
certified
saying, like,
stoner, ain't got nothing left to prove. I'm spending my time in the garden, collecting my vegetables. I keep all this fire stoning, yeah. I keep getting higher stoning, yeah. I keep all this fire stoning, yeah.
Bro. Let's put that on pause real fast. Yeah, we're stretching out a little bit further than dank over. I was in the store yesterday. Yeah, while I'm in there, back music in the store and shit, they got the theme song from Titanic on, you know what I'm saying? So I leave the store, I'm driving down the street, shit. All of a sudden, that shit like just stuck in my head. So that shit been stuck in my head since yesterday. The theme song from the Titanic. What we about to do, bro? We about to watch some old Titanic footage, bro. Yeah, you know, over here we not opposed to learning some shit, bro. So we gonna. That's what we gonna do, bro. We gonna learn a little bit today. We gonna learn some shit about the Titanic, bro. So let's jump into this.
1912 in brilliant sunshine, on Wednesday, April the 10th, 1912, brilliant sunshine, although the day was cold, the unsinkable pride of the White Star Line left by Captain
It's April 10th.
Smith, Commodore of the White Star Fleet, and this was to be his last appointment before retiring. A crowd had gathered on the pier to watch her leave her moorings.
Yo, that was his last appointment before retiring. I mean, he ain't go out the regular way, though. But that nigga did retire, bruh. That was definitely his last joint before retiring.
The Titanic was a new breed of luxury liner. The route for this maiden voyage took her to Cherbourg and Queenstown, where she took on emigrants bound for the New World. Among her passengers were many
Hold on, so she was already in the water. I didn't. So the Titanic was here, then here, then here, and then took off. See, I thought that shit was just like took straight off and shit. I ain't know it made a couple of stops and shit.
Queenstown, where she took on emigrants bound for the New World. Among her passengers were many of the wealthy and influential, with, according to one calculation, combined assets of £120 million.
120 million pounds in 1912 on that boat. That shit got to be down there half a billion right now if you do inflation.
There
If
was
not
something
more.
about the Titanic. It was so very formal. It was so stiff. The atmosphere was stiff. The
Is that a lady or a dude? What's good with you, Cam? Like this thing right here on a neck make me think it might be a lady, but the voice is making me think this might be a dude.
Titanic. It was so very formal. It was so.
Oh, you say you rolling up a J? Oh, I might have to roll me up a J. I was going to just now. I mean, hit my
atmosphere was
little
stiff.
cart. Now I mean
The
today.
coziness.
I might have to roll. I got some
the kind
ultra
of
thin
get-together
zigzags and shit.
feeling.
Oh, the main channel. I just looked that shit up. I got 2 days left. So what is that? That's Saturday. Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning is when I looked at that shit and seen that shit was down. So Saturday morning and shit is when I'll be streaming back over there. But what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start doing one day streaming on the weed channel, the next day streaming over here. Um I'm gonna still like I ain't really film too much weed shit. I've been filming a lot of shit for this channel right here. Like a lot of shit for this channel. So yeah, so I'm trying to like build this channel up. Still run that joint just in case. You know what I mean? They hit me with like a three strike joint where they gonna terminate the channel. This one can already still, you know what I mean, start building and getting some traction. Um since this one is shit ain't just all about dank, you know what I mean? This one it has the potential kind of like to get more eyes on it faster. Cause I'm basically covering the ratchet shit. I'm covering shit from like World Star, that type of shit. You know what I mean? So that's what this channel is about basically. Just ratchet shit, you know what I mean? And me trying to like just watch some shit and just chill basically. Like this shit I'm watching right now. This is motherfuckers now I mean who survived the Titanic. And I'm watching this shit just because I fucking heard the Titanic theme song the other day and that shit was fucking stuck in my head and shit.
It didn't exist. Always remember going up on the lift. A little boy said to me, "You know, madam, it's quite an honor. I'm only 14 years old. I'm a lift boy." But we were
So that was a woman. Still my man, bruh. Yo, my man look like a cartoon character. Like this look like some shit you would draw. Yeah, my man's face look like some shit you would draw, bruh. I swear there's a cartoon character that look like that.
sleeping 6 in a bunk. And we were treated like as if we were in a third-class restaurant as regards the food. We were not allowed to go in any part of the ship except the deck that we were allowed to go on.
If you were rich, the decks
So hold on. So the Titanic, they was segregating motherfuckers. They was. Now I mean, say you third class ass nigga, get the fuck back down to the bottom. All right, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it, bro.
provided a sumptuous way of life. The band played the gayest tunes and American ragtime dances, and in the splendor of the Café Parisien, the light melodies of the day. The dining rooms, staterooms, and common rooms were furnished in various periods and styles, so that English gentlemen might sit in rooms panelled and adorned like their own at home. And so that those extra good food inches could be counteracted, they even provided a splendidly equipped gymnasium. On Sunday evening, April the 14th, the night of the gala dinner, the band was playing, the millionaires were drinking at the bar, the Titanic was aglow with glittering lights. Then 3 rings on the bell gave the alarm from the crow's nest, and a shout down the telephone, ice ahead. The time was 11:40.
All right, so they in that bitch now, I mean, cooling and shit, drinking and shit. Now I mean, dressed all up, sipping wine and hitting on cigars and shit. All of a sudden they know what I mean, hear the scratching in the boom booms, and then I guess that's when panic sets in. Yeah, I guess that's when panic sets in.
There was a very slight bump, just a little.
Oh, that shit wasn't even like ratchet. The hit on the Titanic wasn't like, oh shit. That shit was just like, oh shit, what the fuck was that? I thought that shit was gonna be like, oh. Yo, I'm looking at my monitor, right? And I look at myself do this and shit. Why that shit look like Elmo? Elmo, I mean, some shit like that, bro. I'm fucking smoking silly.
Little jar, nothing at all. I went in my room. There was a second light jar, nothing of consequence. But you knew something had happened, and one man.
Hold on, so. All right, so she felt the first bump. Fuck is that? Okay, ain't shit. She goes into her room, feels the next bump. Boom. The fuck is that? And then she comes out the room. Is she still thinking ain't nothing happened? I would have been like, yo, who the fuck is crashing? How the fuck we crashing out here?
And said, look at that. That's an iceberg. And it's a whopper. Because you know, there's 1/8 above the water and 7/8 below.
You say that's what one of the niggas on the boat said to you? I would have like, what the fuck is you telling me that for, nigga?
It happened. And one man said, look at that. That's an iceberg. And it's a whopper. Because you know, there's 1/8 above the water and 7/8 below. And this blooming thing's ahead, all the way over the top of the ship. Thought nothing of it.
What the fuck? Yo, that's the big ass iceberg, bruh. Yo, I always knew that iceberg was big as shit, but that's a big ass iceberg. Let's say this is like where this mic is the now I mean the waterline of the Titanic. And the top of the mic is the top of the joints. They say the iceberg top is like right here, which will put the bottom about that's a big ass iceberg, bro. And that's just that way. That's not even talking about girth.
We picked up the bits of ice, and most of us played snowballs.
Well,
So they hit the iceberg. The iceberg crumbles and drops particles on the ship. They pick up the shit and throw them at people.
I found a lifebelt in one of the cabins, the first class cabins. I put this on, not securely, and I was walking aimlessly on deck, thinking what I should do next. And looking over the side, I saw the boats being launched for the survivors, and it was building children first, so I had no chance there. And while I was looking over the side of the boat, one of the crew in the lifeboat shouted out to me to jump. Well, I didn't actually jump over the boat. I crawled across the davits, came down the falls, dropped in the water, and I was picked up with a boat that returned to pick me up.
I probably would have jumped. Yeah, I probably would have jumped, bro. I probably would have jumped, knowing that that boat is going down. And I mean, yeah, I think I would have, braced in Geronimo.
A little while later, a man came to my door. His teeth were chattering. He said, "Madam, get up, get out. Do you know they're making the women and children leave in lifeboats? They say you're coming back for breakfast. You know, these crazy English, they do anything. They make you get up and go off in boats and go off and come back for breakfast. What do you?"
Okay, I've heard that part of the story. That when the first shit thing happened, they were telling people just get in the boats. We doing just like a test evacuation, just to check that shit. And they was telling them that just so they wouldn't be all panicky. But yeah, it was already going down by then.
What do you think of that? But before I went, I locked every window in my 3 staterooms and closed every trunk and locked every trunk and took the keys with me. 19 keys for 19 trunks. I don't.
Why was you carrying that much shit? Why was you carrying that much shit? Where the fuck was you going?
On my evening slippers, diamond buckles. No, not real diamonds, but diamond. And I had a wool cap and 2 fox furs and a paper-thin broadtail coat and no underwear and no stockings, but a pair of velvet slippers and these buckles. And I lost a buckle.
How did she remember she had no underwear? She froze her whole ass off.
And who should I see? Mr. Mock, a miniature painter. And he said, "Look, there's trouble." I just said, "No." Well, he said, "You'll have to jump now into the lifeboat." I said, "Jump? With this thing I've got on? What do you think I am, an acrobat or a monkey or something? I can't jump." And this
So this motherfucker trying to save your life. You worry about what you got on.
thing, well, he said, "You'll have to. My sister's in that lifeboat." Well, I looked at that lifeboat, swinging out on the davits. Oh, possibly, I don't know by measurements, but it was an awful long way. And down below was the sea, 14 stories below. What if you jumped and you fell between? No. I never would have left the ship. But a sailor came along and he said, "Say you don't want to be saved. Well, I'll save your baby." And he grabbed this pig from under my arm and he tossed it in the lifeboat. And I turned to this man, Monk, and I said, that does it. But when they threw that pig, I knew it was my mother calling me.
So the only reason she got on the boat was because somebody threw the pig that she has on her lap taxidermied into the lifeboat. She probably should have went down with her clothes. She probably should have went down with her clothes, bro.
You know, when we look at the figures, there were less people saved from the steerage class.
That's right.
Than there were from the first
Quite
class.
right, because they were not allowed to go on a first class deck.
And that was the only way one could be saved.
Yes.
Terrible, bro. Yo, that's ugly as fuck. Yeah, that's ugly, bro. So you say that the motherfuckers downstairs could not even go up to the first deck to even save themselves. That's ugly.
In the wireless cabin, the two Phillips and Bride flashed out signals for assistance until the deck was awash. Did the band actually play music while the ship went down?
No. I heard the band playing when the boat struck, when I first tried to get on deck. But when I decided to jump off the boat, I actually saw the band standing back with the instruments.
I don't doubt.
Oh, so them niggas, oh, so that movie lied and shit. You have to understand though that the movie was never, supposed to be 100% accurate. But that was like one of the selling points of that bitch, that you know what I mean? While the shit was going down, they was on deck just playing music, trying to keep everybody calm. Come to find out, these motherfuckers running around with cellos and violins and shit.
They were playing music. Other people heard it. But when people say that music played as the ship went down, that is a ghastly, horrible lie.
Fuck yeah, because ain't nobody going, what the fuck? Imagine that shit. Imagine you out there and the ship is going down and you still just playing your fiddle to keep motherfuckers calm. That's just all the way dumb.
Arthur Lewis, the bedroom steward, was saved because he was detailed to row one of the lifeboats. What were the other passengers like in the lifeboat?
Well, they never spoke, you see. There's women and children in the boat all night, but they never spoke. They just sat back down there waiting to get picked up.
But you never talked to each other?
No, well, we didn't know one another, so we couldn't get in conversation.
And then...
God damn, bro. The whole night sitting there, now I mean, hearing all that screaming around you slowly die off. And you not saying shit to nobody.
Horrible fear was in my heart, and I think everybody else's, that the dreadful, dreadful suction that had drawn us towards the Titanic would suck us under the Titanic.
At 2:20 a.m. on Monday.
So hold on. When you research the Titanic, you hear about this a vacuum that was created when it went down. So she's saying that these niggas was like away from that shit, and that shit was pulling these niggas into it, bruh. That would have been, oh God, I would have been paddling my motherfucking ass off.
Day the 15th of April, and 2.5 hours after she struck the iceberg, the largest liner afloat slid beneath the black icy waters to the floor of the Atlantic. The Titanic carried a total of 2,206 passengers and crew. 703 people survived. The total loss of life was 1,503.
Terrible, bruh. Yeah, that's terrible, bruh. Let me see what's this. This is another interview.
Mrs. Manning, where were you when the ship struck the iceberg?
In the steerage.
mysterious class.
You were emigrating to America?
Yes, I was coming over here to my sister.
If I may ask, how old were you then?
I was 16, going on 17. Be 17 in October.
Well, so on 16 years old, getting on the Titanic by yourself, coming to America. That had to be crazy.
When did you first realize how serious the trouble was?
Oh, I didn't until I got to this country. I thought it was part of the trip, to tell you the truth.
What? She said she did not know there was trouble until they got to America, even though she had to have spent the night in a goddamn boat. I just wonder if she was one of the first ones on a boat where they was telling them, this is just, you're just going to be on the boat till morning, then you'll get back on the boat and eat.
I didn't realize that there was any danger.
You didn't realize there was any danger?
No, I thought that was pretty hard way to get here, but I didn't really think it was as bad as it was until after.
When the alarm...
So she watched the boat sink, spent the night freezing in a little boat, got rescued by a big boat, brought to America, and thought that was the way it was supposed to go. Did these people know anything but way in the way backs?
was sounded, what happened?
Well, I was asleep at the time, and I thought the ship had landed. So I thought we were here in this country.
Then you went up on deck?
And then I went up on deck, and then we were told to go down, that there was a piece of ice on deck, and that when they get it off of it, everything would be all right. Go down and go to bed.
How did you escape?
Well, we were standing on the steerage, third class they call it, and then we couldn't get up second. And of course, then there was one man with us, and he was our guardian angel, and he said, for God's sake, let the women up. So at that, I got up.
And then you
second.
And then you got into a lifeboat?
And no, then I had to go to first cabin. The lifeboats were only going from first cabin. So there was a man on the second deck, and he asked me to go on his shoulder, and I climbed over, and then I think it was the last boat that was going out.
Lucky. So many people left behind.
Did you
They
take
didn't want to let me on because there was too many on the boat already.
But you got into the boat?
But I said to the man I'd like to go with my sister because there was a neighbor with me, and I thought he'd feel it. Because I didn't want to lose the crowd. I didn't really think it was any danger, but I thought I'd miss them in the dark. You know, it was very dark.
Did you see the ship sink?
Oh, yes. I was looking at it sinking when we were in the lifeboat, because we were in the lifeboats for 9 hours.
And then which ship rescued you?
Carpathia.
And how did she think that shit was still regular?
You picked us up then early in the morning, about 9 o'clock or something. I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Slocum, I believe you were in charge of the Turkish bath on the Titanic.
I was.
And where were you when the iceberg hit the ship?
I was in bed.
And when did you first realize things were wrong?
Well, naturally the flood woke us up, and everybody got to their feet. And I went into a little passage, and I met the second steward, which was Mr. Dodd, and he said, for God's sake, get some clothes on, get up on deck. I said, what's wrong? He said, I don't know. So, of course, I had a coat on a night dress, and we got up on deck, and everybody was most cheerful.
When did you first realize how serious things were?
I didn't think it was serious because I didn't think it was possible a big ship like that could sink.
Yeah, see, that's just another thing. They told everybody on that ship that it would not be able to go down. ugly night right there, bro.
And everybody was busy and they was lowering the lifeboats. And the crew were marvelous. Everybody was cheerful.
How did you escape?
In the last lifeboat. And I didn't want to go.
So she got on the last lifeboat that the other lady was on?
Then, of course, you realized that things were very serious.
Yes, I did.
Did you see the ship sink?
I did. It sank very quickly.
That must have been a most dramatic sight.
It was, because you could just see the lights going down and down.
Did you hear the music playing?
I did.
Almost till the end?
Till the end, I heard them play.
The other lady said there wasn't no music playing to the end. Yeah, you might have heard that in your head, but I can't imagine there was actually a motherfucker up there really playing, the cello.
You know, Neil and I got to the plane. And I met a steward, and he said, "Here you are, grab hold of this." And it was a baby. So I took the baby. And then when they lowered the last lifeboat, I didn't want to go. And they said that one of the other stewards, and Mr. Wheat, he was helping lower them, and Mr. Murdoch, he was the chief steward, and he was shouting out, "Ladies, children and women first." They was marvellous.
And you took the baby?
I took the baby, and I didn't want to go, so they said, "Come on." And I went down in the last lifeboat, and I think there was 72 in it. And you could hear the ice crash in the sides of the boats.
You saw ice all around you?
Oh yes, crashing and the water, the ocean was as smooth as a pond.
And you were in the water until you were in the boat until daylight?
Yes, quite daylight. And then we was brought on to New York, and the Lapland brought us back to Plymouth.
Yeah, that's crazy. Fuck, my drink, bro.
Survivors, which had to come back. So then, of course, we was kept there a little while, and then brought on to Southampton. Of course, that was very sad, because everybody thought you knew somebody who was lost, and I had so many friends on there, and you couldn't tell them anything.
There was no impact as such. It was just like jamming your brakes on a car. And that was that. She stopped. We had a porthole open, and I looked out, and the sky was clear, the stars were shining, the sea was dead calm. And I thought, I don't know, I couldn't understand it. So I came out of my cabin, and I thought, well, I'd go forward. And I went forward to the well deck on the starboard side, and I could see ice in the well deck. There's no sign of iceberg then, because she'd passed us. And the lights were shining on the water from the portholes, and no sign of damage above waterline. And of course, what had happened, we slipped over the iceberg. And although she was supposed to be unsinkable with a double bottom, the iceberg had cut her from forward on the starboard side to the engine room, right through her two bottoms. And we had orders to get the lifeboats out. And because the same old order, women and children. And we swung the lifeboats out and gradually filled them up. First boats were away on the port side. The first boats away didn't have many passengers on board. They were afraid to go down. There was a 70-foot drop to the water, and they didn't think she was going to sink. And a few of the first boats on the port side got away with half filled. Don't forget, we had 16 lifeboats, and they each carried 50. And if they'd been filled, we could have saved 800, whereas we only saved 500. So you can imagine there were many seats in the first lifeboats vacant.
Crazy. Crazy.
Then I had orders to go down the storeroom with a gang of men and get all the biscuits we could find. Well, when we got back up onto the boat deck, we couldn't get near the lifeboats. Some people were scrambling to get in and being pushed back. By that time, she was listing very badly to port, and we couldn't get the starboard boots down. But before I got my lifebelt on, I met a young couple, and I can tell you her name. It was Mrs. Clark. They'd spent their honeymoon in France, and we'd picked them up at Cherbourg. And she was having trouble with her lifebelt. So I fixed that on to her. And I said, I think you'd better get into a lifeboat. And there was one in the port, on the port side. So she said, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to leave my husband. So I said, well, it's just precautionary measure. You get in, your husband will follow later on. And I got her away, and that was that. And then I picked up my own lifebelt and put it on. Then the third-class passengers were coming up. There were 700 of them. And they swarmed the decks and filled up the decks. And I thought, well, I'd done all I possibly could. I'd helped them all I could. And I thought, well, now I'll go up and get out of all this scrumming and go on the poop deck. And she was sinking fast then. And all of a sudden she lifted up quickly and you could hear everything crashing through her.
Jesus Christ.
Everything that was movable was going through her. And then she went down and seemed to come up again. So I thought, well, now I'm going to leave. And I was hanging on to a board. We had two boards, starboard and port, which said, keep clear of propeller blades. And I was hanging on to one of these and I was getting higher and higher in the air. And I thought, well, now I'll go. And I dropped in. I had a lifebelt on. And I hit the water with a terrific crack. Luckily, I didn't hit anything when I dropped in. There were bodies all over the place. And then I looked up at the Titanic. The propellers were right out of water. The rudder was right out, and I could see the bottom.
He's underneath this boat.
And gradually she glided away, and that was that. That was the last of the Titanic. I didn't want to die. I mean, I didn't see much chance of living, but I was gradually getting frozen up. And by the grace of God, I came across a lifeboat, and they pulled me in. And there was a fireman dead in the bottom, and there was about a foot of water in this boat. There was another man who was trying to, he seemed to be trying to get away from it again. I don't know what was the matter with him. They were tying him down. And the rest were women and children. And I sat on a seat, and I sat next to Mrs. Clark, the girl I'd put into a lifeboat. And she said, the first thing she said, have you seen my husband? So I said, no, I haven't, but I expect he'll be all right. Anyway, I was in a pretty bad way then, as you can imagine.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Frozen solid almost. And she wrapped me round with a cloak. She had some sort of blanket or a coat on. Anyway, I think she probably saved my life. I don't know.
Yo, that's ugly, bro. That's a terrible story. That is a terrible story, bro. I did not like that.
But I saved hers. At least I think I might have done. I think I did. And she saved mine. Then first light, the Carpathia came along. Carpathia was about 7,000 tons, and they were going to the Mediterranean, absolutely loaded. And they took us all on board, took us to New York. And that was that.
I believe you've even got a watch that you were wearing at the time when you went into the water.
Yes. But I couldn't afford anything better in those early days. Here it is.
That says 2:20. What time was it when you went into the water, do you think?
I think about 2 o'clock. I think it lasted. It was frozen up like I was. I think it lasted for about 20 minutes in the water.
Does talking about this incident bother you like you have been today?
Talking about it? I should probably dream of that tonight. Have another nightmare. You think I'm too old for that, but you'd be amazed. You lie in bed at night and the whole thing comes round again.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. They lived through something like that. At least I'm glad some people got it documented. Like, you know what I mean? They got interviews with the people that survived that shit. So that we can sit here, you know what I mean? Listen to that shit and think about how wild that goddamn story is, bro. That shit is crazy, my dude. Oh, yo. Slip sliding, bro. I'll holler at y'all next time, yo. 2 days, main channel be open. So we be back over there. Yo, I'm out. TwoBlunt Marley. Bird Club.